Okay, so this is exercise 4D, question number 9a, and it's asked to show that the identity sine theta minus I cosine theta is equal to cis theta minus pi on 2. So, like last time, what I'll do is I'll expand the right hand side here. Where are we? So if I expand cis theta minus pi on 2, I get cosine theta minus pi on 2 plus I sine theta minus pi on 2. And the first thing we're going to do with this one is we're going to rewrite cosine theta minus pi on 2 and this sine theta minus pi on 2. And I'll just write down the two identities we're going to use just to speed things up. Okay, so the two identities we're going to use are cosine theta minus pi on 2. Well, that's equal to cosine pi on 2 minus theta. And the other one, sine theta minus pi on 2, this one up here, we can rewrite as negative sine pi on 2 minus theta. And the easiest way to show that obviously is with a diagram. So if we've got, say, theta in here, let's try and draw that. So if this is theta, and if we have theta minus pi on 2, so theta minus pi on 2, so I have to think for a second there. So here we'll do it again. So if I've got theta here, if I want theta minus pi on 2, if that's theta, and then we take pi on 2, that's going to end up looking something like this down here. So that angle here is theta minus pi on 2. So theta minus pi on 2, I guess, is like this. Well, that's going to be equal to cosine pi on 2 minus theta. So we have pi on 2 and we take theta. So that will look something, that's meant to be a straight line there. So that's pi on 2 minus theta, that's that angle then. If we're looking for cosine, that's my x value. Well, that's my x value. So you can see that this identity here is true. And if we look at the other one, sine of pi on 2 minus theta, sorry, sine of theta minus pi on 2, well, that's theta minus pi on 2, so that's this angle just here, and we take the sine value, which is coming across here. Well, that's going to be equal to negative, well, let's look at this sine pi on 2 minus theta, that's pi on 2 minus my theta, and if I take the negative of that, I'll get this value down here. So now I've got those two identities, let's rewrite this part here and this part here, so we end up with, okay, so I've just written it down, so sine theta minus I cosine of theta is equal to, well, this line here, but we know that cosine theta minus pi on 2 is equal to cosine pi on 2 minus theta, this part just here, and this sine theta minus pi on 2, sine theta minus pi on 2 is equal to negative here I sine pi on 2 minus theta. So this bit here is all okay. And then again, I think like question number 7, we're going to use the following two identities which are on your formula sheet, and I'll pop them up now. They're sine, let me just check how I've written them down. Yep, so sine x minus y is equal to sine x cosine y minus cosine x sine y, and the other one, cosine x minus y is equal to cosine x cosine y plus sine x sine y. So I'll prove this one slightly differently. Let's rewrite this part here and rewrite this part here using the two identities up here, and we get, okay, so this cosine pi on 2 minus theta can be written as cosine pi on 2. Remember, the x is the pi on 2 and the y is the theta. Cosine theta plus sine pi on 2 sine theta. So this part here is all of this bit here. And here's my negative I. I'll take away the I, and the sine pi on 2 minus theta is equal to the x is pi on 2 and the y is theta. Sine pi on 2 cosine theta. Just careful here that you don't put the negative theta in here. It's minus the y, and the y happens to be theta, minus cosine pi on 2 sine theta. Well, we know that cosine pi on 2 is 0, so this goes to 0, and sine pi on 2 is 1, so we end up with just sine theta. Sine pi on 2 is 1, so we end up with cosine theta, and cosine pi on 2 is 0, so all of this bit here comes down to 0. So if I rewrite that, well, you get this part here becomes sine theta, and the imaginary part, well, that just becomes, that's 1, so that's cosine theta, so you get sine theta is sine theta, that's your real part, and your imaginary part, cosine theta is equal to, negative cosine theta is negative cosine theta. So there you've got it, left hand side is equal to right hand side, and you've verified your identity. Hope that helps.